Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. Ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. Talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. Ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. A comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it.
Is this your year?
You guys can point the finger at him.
Is this your year?
You can talk about the
Is it fair?
vacation, and if you do that, it's really unfair.
Do what you always do.
It's really unfair.
What about Dak?
It's my quarterback.
What about Dak?
It's my team.
How about him?
And if you guys do that, man, it's unfair.
Another year? Same results.
Lost as a team. We lost as a team, man.
DC failed. For L. Fail.
Welcome everybody to another episode of Let's Dump on the Cowboys. No, just kidding. Welcome everybody to another episode of Head to Head. I don't know about to say Head to Head Sports. Head to Head with Brian Parker. We are streaming live and direct on Instagram, Facebook Live, excuse me, Roku TV, as well as YouTube TV. Help us on our drive to 10,000 subscribers by going to our YouTube channel, like, sharing, and subscribing to that channel under N Power, the letter N, Power TV. Please hit us up. But also, whether you're watching us live or watching us on the replay, first and foremost, thank you. We appreciate that. But also, do share, let everybody else know what you're watching. We do this show every single Thursday at 7 p.m. And as I was almost about to reference Head to Head Sports, which goes on during the NFL season, that show is 7 p.m. on Mondays with myself and my co-host, Randall Hargrove, where we break down the latest happenings in the NFL, including games, scores, and that type of thing. And we try to prognosticate the upcoming games, who's going to win, and things like that. Unfortunately, we have not been very good at that because this season, unlike many other seasons, has been absolutely crazy. I see that we have a viewer in. Looks like Virgil has some questions. Go ahead and submit your questions, and we'll take a look at those. If you would like to reach out to us, you can always send us an email at theparkermedia@gmail.com. If you are a business owner, if you have goods or services that you would like to be able to make our audience aware of, even those on our Roku channel that has over 150 million users, please reach out to us at theparkermedia@gmail.com. We can either do a full-blown commercial or do a table read of your good service, product, or special event. If you're an author, please let us know. If you have a job, but maybe you do something on the side that you want to be able to promote that business, we know advertising dollars come at a very at a high premium these days. Advertising dollars on a lot of big network channels cost tons of money. So we would definitely like to be able to partner with you and help you out with that any way that we can. If you are a content creator and you are thinking about having a show like this one and want to air it on a network, we are looking to partner with those that may have ideas for content to be able to air out to folks. just again, reach out to us at theparkermedia@gmail.com. And to give you a little flavor of a commercial, we're going to start with this one. This one is Lori. Let's do Sawyer Kid Lawyer. And then we'll come back and get into the show. Introducing Sawyer Kid Lawyer. Introducing Sawyer Kid Lawyer. Teacher versus Nap Time. A great book that will. Introducing Sawyer Kid Lawyer. Teacher versus Nap Time. A great book that will help your little one with reading, writing, and spelling. Coming from the authors Shanine and Sheldon Moultrie. Please check this book out and support. Thank you so much. I think that was Lori's remix version.
No, we were frozen for a minute because it got stuck.
Oh, I wasn't frozen.
Yeah, you were. I
Oh,
was. I was frozen. You were
you were
frozen. I couldn't move.
okay.
So, do you want me to try it again?
No, it played.
Oh, because that was like I saw nothing on my side.
That's yes. It's on you. It's on your side then. I wasn't frozen. Not on my side. I wasn't frozen. I saw the entire commercial.
Okay,
It played.
sorry about that.
You probably kept because you were frozen. You kept hitting it and it kept stopping and starting.
Sorry about that.
All right.
I know.
Well, we
I'm
will
I'm
see.
I'm not on my job today, apparently.
Uh, Virgil, your question was, firstly, are you ex-military? I am not. My brother is. I'm not military. Um, you're still on Charlie Kirk for some reason. Why didn't his protection detail not draw their weapons? Why was there no attempt to track the shooter immediately? Why no post-mortem? Well, Virgil, without going so far into this, because honestly, the Charlie Kirk thing to me is pretty much dead and buried, along with Charlie. But Charlie Kirk was not a figure like a um, head of state or a president or somebody that would have Secret Service protection. So first and foremost, his security was very limited anyway. These aren't necessarily people that you would consider ex-military necessarily. They're just security people. Normally, just to keep people from storming stages and things like that. Not as if you had a congressperson or a president out in an open area and you would have agents posted up in different positions, different point of views, able to track a shooter. Um, the shooter was immediately tracked because once Charlie went down, then the FBI was called in. The FBI was not present while Charlie Kirk was there speaking, nor should they have been. He was just a public figure. He did not have the type of protection that a government official would have had. Thus, they would not have had the type of protection that would have just been able to return fire. Then, number two, they would not have known exactly where the shot came from necessarily, but they were able to ascertain and figure that out. But you have to remember, it was one shot. At that time, there was a lot of, uh, as you could imagine, with a bunch of students around and somebody on stage gets hit, people don't know at that time if that's just the only shot that's going to ring out. So most people at that point were looking for cover. to make sure that if there were subsequent shots, they would not get hit as well. So there's a the thing that something like that does is it creates pandemonium because people are unsure of what's going on, where it's coming from, and the only thing that they're thinking about at that point, rightfully so, is self-preservation. So there was no security there that would have been able to turn around, return fire because apparently after this person did what they did, they had already secured an exit strategy to be able to get off of a building very quickly without going down any stairs, to be able to dismount off of that building, run to some nearby woods, and avoid immediate capture. They did hide their weapon. That weapon was retrieved. Then the FBI came and started securing footage, even started using cell phones and things like that to be able to get other angles and things like that. If you think about it, they actually apprehended him fairly quickly when it comes to trying to shut down in areas such as a city, a school campus, and things of that nature. So that is why. Now, why you're asking about Charlie Kirk still, I have no idea. Um, and why no post mortem? As far as what did they need to find post mortem? They knew what killed him. It was a gunshot wound to the neck. He bled out. Uh, so not really sure what uh, other post mortem, if you meant autopsy or anything like that, but that would normally, if he died under some suspicious circumstances, that may be something that they would have wanted to entertain. But anything past the obvious COD, they're not going to necessarily go any further than that unless the family requested uh, something else just to make sure that he wasn't poisoned or anything like that. But that was never any kind of um, possibility or probability for anybody. It was pretty obvious that it was a gunshot wound to his neck, and he lost massive amounts of blood, um, and they weren't able to stop the bleeding to a point that it did not cause him to lose his life. So, hope that answers your question. Um, let's see here. We've got folks coming in. Okay, great. Welcome everybody. Thanks for joining the show. Anyway, let's move on, Lori. So we got a commercial out the way. Um, nobody's frozen, right? You're not frozen anymore. Well, Virgil, okay, they didn't track him down. They did track him down. His family did give him up. You're right. They already convinced him to turn himself in. But at that point, Virgil, they had already started putting out a description of him and actually his picture. It was a family member that recognized him and did that. Um, it's the law. There's a post-mortem required. Okay. I guess Virgil, what's your point? I mean, you seem to be a nice guy, but I don't know what you ascribe to politically or whatever, and which is fine. Um, is there a point? Is there a view that, I mean, you seem to delve in conspiracies a little. So is there a conspiracy you're trying to support? That what was it set up? Was it something with the government? What is it? Because it was pretty open and shut case. Even if there was a post mortem, I don't think that it's by law there. I mean, there's an autopsy that's done on every case like that. But if you're talking about post mortem, that means after death, of course. Yes, you can't do an autopsy on somebody till they're dead. I'm sure there was an autopsy, but what other things did they do that you didn't find sufficient? Um, the FBI did track him down in the way that they were able to ascertain who the actual shooter was. Yes, it became between a family member and then consulting with a priest that they convinced him to turn himself in. Okay. And if it did occur, what's the problem? You're saying it didn't occur. Did it not occur or was it not made public? What difference does it make? I'm gonna ask that one more time, then I'm gonna move to the next subject and I'm not gonna revisit it anymore. Because at this point, honestly, Virgil, I don't give a fuck. He's dead. Somebody killed him. We don't know totally why. I think to get hung up on an autopsy is kind of insane because it doesn't matter. We saw why he died. Okay. So if there's something that you're getting at, because I have limited amount of time on the show, please get to it so that we can move on to the next subject respectfully. Because it just doesn't make any sense, the line of questioning. Um, what's required after a murder? What does that have to do with anything? He's gone. He ain't coming back. Um, the person that committed the crime is in custody, whether the FBI physically walked him down, whether somebody turned him in, or it was a combination of the two. What difference does it make? If the next response from you doesn't answer that question, I'm not going to answer anything else that you ask, respectfully, because it just seems like a drip drip of nonsense. Okay. I'm not going to get into that in this show with you. Honestly, I appreciate you for tuning in, but I'm not going to let you hijack my show with nonsense. So I'm actually putting my foot down. Okay. Respectfully. If there's a point, if there's something that is meaningful, no trial yet. Okay, Virgil. Trials don't happen the day after somebody gets caught. What is your point? What's the point? No trial yet. People don't get killed on a Tuesday and there's a trial within a month. There are court motions. People have to be arraigned. Then they go, the court system does not work that fast. Many times in murder cases, there have been people that have sat in jail for years before there's a trial. Years. This has not happened years ago. This happened 2 months ago. It is not, it doesn't stink. There is no expectation of a speedy trial within 2 months of a crime. Maybe that happens that way in England. I don't know. In America, the court system does not move that fast. Whether that's good or bad, whether that stinks or doesn't, that is not unusual here in America. Okay? I'm done with that. Nothing stinks. The only thing that would stink is if the guy was released and out on bail or some, or they brought up bail and they let him get bailed out. He is in custody. He is behind bars where he should be. And we've all agreed what he did was abhorrent and it not being condoned in any way whatsoever because it's political violence. I don't know what's in your crawl about it, but I would tell you to let it go. Go smell some grass, enjoy sunlight, be around people that aren't online, and be more concerned about real, tangible things. Speaking of real, tangible things, Lori, we had an election on Tuesday.
Yes, do you not see my blue shirt?
Is that what that's for?
Riding the blue wave. Woohoo!
So there was a blue wave. Well, first and foremost, this isn't even what we consider a mid-year election. That won't be until next year. So this is what we consider off-year elections. Mid-year elections come when um, there's not a presidential race. However, there is a race for 1/3 of the United States Senate and the entire 435 members of the U.S. House of Representatives. So everybody in Congress, in the U.S. House of Representatives, whether it's AOC, Hakeem Jeffries, um, whether it's uh, Jared Moskowitz, any of those folks that are in office, they run every 2 years, which is crazy because by the time they actually win, then they're constantly running for the next cycle. Um, which really makes, in my opinion, makes it hard for these folks to govern in good faith, Lord, because they're always trying to win the next election in 2 years. Okay, so you win in November, you get seated in January, and basically you've got 22 months before the next election that you have. And that's not a whole lot of time. There's a lot of pressure then to get a lot of legislation done. Now that puts you in two separate Congresses because every year it's a new Congress. But you spend so much of that time between being in Washington and being at home with your constituents, you're also fundraising for the next election. And in fundraising, a lot of times people have to think, um, uh, I'm definitely not answering that, Virgil. Um, uh, People have to wonder what's motivating folks when they're fundraising because they need those dollars. They need commitments from big backers a lot of times. Some say that they don't take corporate PAC money, and all that basically is, Lori, is political action committees that come together on behalf of a cause or behalf of a candidate. They raise money on their behalf, and those entities donate to a political campaign. Some people do more grassroots stuff. They reach out to the people and they ask for $2, $5, $10, $25, $100, whatever it is, small dollar donations. And they raise money that way. Some people, like a Hakeem Jeffries, maybe may come in and host, $10,000 plate dinners or something like that and raise money that way from some of the bigger donors and folks like that. So you're constantly running when you're in the U.S. House of Representatives because your terms are only 2 years and they flip over all at the same time. The U.S. Senate has 100 members, and approximately a third of those change out their 6-year terms uh, during those cycles. So you don't get a full change of Senate people. So somebody that just won Senate last year still has 5 years to go. But there may be somebody else that's up next year. And by that time, that person will have 3 years to go, 3.5. So there's always a constant rotation. It's not you don't flip the entire Senate every single election cycle like you do with the House of Representatives. Um, so so it's it's crazy because when you have an off year cycle, Lori, there's no federal House or Senate on the ballot. There's no presidential candidates on the ballot. So what does that do? That actually affects turnout in a way because um, because you don't have those kind of draws to a ballot. You may have local county elections, you may have races for mayors, you may have school board, the local stuff. And the struggle with local elections in an off year is you don't have a top of the ballot like a president to bring people out. So turnout is really a big challenge. Being able to get people motivated and energized to come out and vote and have their voices heard when they're not voting for president. And we talked about this on the show. Um, no, Congress cannot force Prince Andrew to testify. No. Um, he's not a U.S. citizen. They can't compel any testimony from a non-U.S. citizen. They can nicely ask him to come testify, but if you've been paying attention, nobody um, on the Republican side is interested in hearing anything about Jeffrey Epstein and his dealings. And currently, right now, any powers to bring anybody in, even if it's not a subpoena, but to hold hearings, would have to be initiated from uh, the oversight chairman, who would be a Republican. Um, but anyway, back to what I was saying about the participation. So it is really hard to get people to come out. Even in our backyard, we had local elections for mayor, council people, uh,
School
things of that
board.
like school board, and yeah, the turnout was very low, as it normally is. You're getting people that, in a town of 100,000 people, 5,000 people vote. You know, very very low turnout. But then we had some other races that always happen in the off year cycle, Lori, and one of those was for Virginia. And it's funny because I'll tell you in a second about how the Speaker of the House responded to this stuff, and he's just been kind of becoming more and more Trumpy every single day, meaning that he's learned how to lie without even blinking. And I'll tell you in a second why it's pretty much lying, gaslighting. But in the Virginia governor's race, you had Abigail Spanberger going up against the Republican Winsome Earl Sears. Um, and Abigail Spanberger actually won the governorship, um, 57.2% of the vote, Lori. So in election terms, that is a pretty resounding win. All you need is 50. She got 57 to Earl Sears' 42.6%. So um,
And especially um the Latin voters that voted for Trump
mhm,
or that was Republican had actually switched their vote and voted for Spanberger.
yeah, we'll talk about that too because, um, like I said, the GOP has really, really tried to downgrade what really happened, um, as far as the results of the election, just really trying to downplay it, which is crazy because if the shoe was on the other foot, they'd be saying the exact same thing. There was a blue wave on Tuesday. Um, and then in New Jersey, in an election in a race that was prognosticated to be a lot closer than it ended up being, you had Mikey Sherrill, Democrat, running against Jack Ciattarelli, the Republican. And part of the reason that it was supposed to be closer, Lori, was Ciattarelli had already previously run for governor twice.
Yes.
So there was definitely some name recognition. There was always this worry that because of the results from 2024, where a lot of Latinos went for Trump, some African American men more than normal went for Trump. Was that going to spill over into future elections? And between Virginia and New Jersey, that did not hold. Um, Citarelli, and the way that you normally look at it, Lori, is not only and this is why Republicans have been downplaying this and not really being responding in good faith. It's not so much if you win, how did you win? And a lot of the things that we look at when we look at county by county results, I'll give you an example. If Kamala Harris, when she ran in the state of New Jersey for president, performed 60% in a certain county, but now the gubernatorial candidate is running 70%, that's plus 10 over what the last presidential person in the same party did, meaning that they're overperforming based on what the last presidential person did. That that can be important because it can mean either they were able to boost the turnout or they were able to move or they were able to get more people in that party to vote, or even more importantly, they may have been able to swing independents or people from the other party over to boost that performance. And in a lot of these, Lori, no surprise, between Spanberger and Mikey Sherrill, they overperformed in many of the same counties that Kamala Harris won as well. They overperformed based on where Harris finished in the 2024 election. That's the part that I feel like Mike Johnson is kind of downplaying. He just said, well, they were blue states and they elected, they went blue. There's no surprise. There's not going to be a carryover. Well, it is going to be a carryover because, yes, if you bring out all the blue people to vote in a blue state, yeah, you should win. But if you start looking at the demographics of who voted, were they all registered Democrats, or were some of them registered Republicans or registered independents that voted for the Democrat? See, that's where the gaslighting comes from, where they're not telling you the actual results of uh, who these people are that voted and how did they previously vote or what are they registered as. If you're red and you hold on to all your red voters and you still lose because you just don't have as many red voters in a blue state, that would be one thing. But a lot of times, Lori, it's not about how many red or how many blue you get out. It's how many independents you get to swing one way or the other. And in both of those elections, they got a lot more independents to swing back. They decided to give Trump a chance because they believed him for whatever reason that he was going to come in and make the cost of everything lower. Don't know how they thought he would do that because every time they asked him in the election cycle last year to explain it, his answers were incoherent and he did what he called the weave. So why they even believed him in the first place, I guess is the same reason people believe con people because it sounded too good to be true. So I'll just go ahead and assume that it's going to happen, and it didn't. Big surprise. So the first chance that they got to voice their displeasure, which is how we have to voice our displeasure, y'all, is with our power of voting. That's why we vote. Your vote does matter. It sends a message. Whether Mike Johnson gets in front of a podium and just flat out lies about the impact of your vote, rest assured that he knows in whatever quiet place he goes to that he's full of crap, that he's telling people stuff that he knows isn't true. He just doesn't want his party to be in a panic. I know why he's doing what he's doing, Lori, but he's still lying. And I guess he has to toe the line of he can't say. But now the funny thing is, after all of this election, and we'll talk about some of the other races, Donald Trump said it for him. Donald Trump said, well, the Republicans lost because Trump wasn't on the ballot and because of the shutdown that people are blaming the Republicans for. Well, he was half right. The public is overwhelmingly blaming Republicans for now the longest government shutdown in U.S. history. However, Trump is dead wrong in saying that he wasn't on the ballot. Yeah, he definitely on the ballot, bro. Because there's a lot of people that said that they came out in an off-year election to voice their displeasure about the president. So even though your name doesn't appear there, the people in your party that are tied to you are, and they are losing guilt by association. That's what's happening. You know what I mean? Like, because they're Republicans and because they go on TV and they do all these things and they give all honor, not to God, but to Trump, and they sit there and they drink his Kool-Aid and they spout his lies and stuff like that. People said, you know what? We're going to make y'all pay for that. We know that unless something crazy happens, Donald Trump will never be on the ballot again. But we're going to communicate to Trump through y'all how we feel about what your party is doing in the direction your party has been taking us in over the last 10 and a half months. And that's exactly what happened. So New Jersey governor and Lori, for all the little girls out there, hey, them glass ceilings keep getting broken. We got two female governors on the same night. Absolutely amazing. Um, so congratulations to Spanberger and Mikey Sherrill. Now, New York City mayor came down to Zoran Mondani and the people's champion, meaning Donald Trump and Stephen Miller, Andrew Cuomo. There was another guy, a Republican, Curtis Silva, that stood no chance for New York City, never does. And Zoran Mondani becomes the youngest mayor of New York City in over 100 years, I believe. Is the first Muslim mayor of New York City, uh, and a proud Democratic socialist. Um, Cuomo, former governor of New York, who left under scandal, wanted to come back into the arena as the savior of New York City. Ran in the spring against Mondani and lost, then re-ran in the fall as an independent. But had taken on endorsements from Donald Trump and Donald Trump's senior advisor, Stephen Miller. That's how much they were afraid of Mondani.
And all the other millionaires that actually put up money against him, and then also are saying that they're leaving New York. Um, if he got elected, a lot of the millionaires were going to be leaving New York, but
You know what? Do you think that's true?
I don't think it's true. But actually, I read something that was, I'm sorry, I saw something that was very interesting, and I forgot about it. So back in, I think it's 1997 or
Hmm.
92, wherever, back in the 90s. Um, because this is when Giuliani was the new mayor of New York City. Um, the people of Staten Island had complained that the Staten Island ferry, which at that time or during that time was about 50 cents to go back and forth from Staten Island to the city, was saying that that was too much of an imposition to have that 50 cents charge. So they ended up at that point, and the mayor, Giuliani, made the Staten Island ferry free.
Hmm.
So I bring this up as a point of these people we're talking about Mondami as being a democratic socialist, that all he's looking for is, free health care, free bus rides for people that are with this one, having the rich, having the top 1% of New Yorkers contribute more to in terms of in social programs. And when I bring up that point about the Staten Island ferry is it's not, it can be done. It can be done. They're just using as an excuse because they want to keep status quo of the way things are. And they're
Yeah.
afraid that what is in his agenda is going to work.
Well, and you know, there's so many things that you said there that are so good and juicy. Y- It's kind of crazy to say I want to leave my city because um, if I want to leave my city because the mayor elect wants to make sure that people have affordable housing, that we fix our homeless situation, that we make sure that healthcare is not a privilege, but it's a right, to make sure that people aren't hungry and they're actually eating and they have resources for that. Um, it just blows my mind that people that have so much are afraid to give up just a little to make sure others are taken care of. Knowing that many of these people that have what they have is on the backs of those that have very little to nothing. um, the people that uh, work in the city, in that city, that built that city, that make it possible for these very well off people to thrive in that city, have such disdain for those same said people that give them the things that they're able to have, that they've gotten so out of touch with the city that, oh, I'll just take my money and go somewhere else. Like where? Where are you going to go? There's only so many places in this country that you're going to be able to go and be able to thrive as well as you did in New York City. The fuck out of here. Where are you going? Chicago,
No.
San
You can
Francisco?
go. They probably want to go to. They probably no. They'll probably want to go to a red state, which they could.
Well, but the problem is you won't thrive.
No,
If you're thriving in New York City, yeah, take your ass to Louisiana or Mississippi or Alabama. Go ahead. All you're doing, look, if you're willing to go to a red state, you're better off staying your ass where you at and paying a little bit extra in taxes because you'll lose more money when you move to a red state. Just by the simple fact you can't thrive in a red state because most red states are what we call they're not donor states, they're taker states because they normally take more revenue than they give. They cannot. They take revenue from New York City. They take revenue from the state of California. They take revenue from the state of New Jersey.
and Massachusetts and all of
Yes,
the other
all of
states.
those. So as much as they talk about Democrats and socialism and this and that and the other, they damn sure don't say that shit when we write them a check. They ain't saying it then. Oh, them communists, they want trans this and trans, or as Trump says, trans for everybody, whatever the hell that means. Um, they damn sure ain't saying that when we sitting here making sure that we help balance their budgets because they don't bring in enough revenue to do it they damn self. Which has always been the funniest thing, Lori. To a side note, when they always talk about succeeding from the union, you'd go bankrupt in 6 months. If the red state succeeded from the union, it would be like they would be Gaza. That's what would happen. They would become Gaza, self-inflicted wound. But and you know what? They know that. They say those little sound bites for their uninformed voters who really come in and believe that, hey, maybe we would be better off without being union to states like blue states. hmm That's because y'all ain't seen the books. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, y'all say that because you think you may think that, but the reality doesn't line up with it. So Zoran Mandani, all these basically said is we need to make sure that the people that make this city run are taken care of. Why can't we have a city that works for everybody? Now, if you call that socialism, hell, some people call it communism because that also tells me they don't know what the hell communism is. Um, but if all those things make somebody bad, then I don't know. I don't know what people are looking at. Um,
And and as I'm sorry to
okay.
I did not mean to cut you off on your thought. But
Mhm.
again, if you're saying that socialism and these things that you ask for or you pay for within your taxes is socialism, then we would be all over the place because you wouldn't have fire departments, you wouldn't have police departments, you wouldn't have school boards, you wouldn't have this. I mean, you would just be sitting there hanging out in your own in some field, or you're going to have your own fiefdom. But it's just like when people are sitting here and talking about, and I guess you probably will sit there and talk about, in addition to some of the other races that were going on, and especially with the government shutdown and the horrible videos about these people on Snap that nobody's working, and that like it's welfare queens. It's just absolutely appalling.
Yeah, we're gonna get into the SNAP thing too because yeah, that's pretty deplorable too. Um, but I mean, just basic decency of humanity. When you're telling somebody that's making the top 1% in New York City, hey, we're gonna need y'all to pay your fair share of taxes. All these tax breaks, loopholes that you pay all these people to do to get you out of paying those taxes, that shit is over. We need y'all to help because our city is struggling. We have epidemics, and it's funny because these will be the same Republicans that'll say states rights, the power should be with the states. Well, now that the states are trying to enact their own policies to improve their own backyard, now you got people saying, oh, no, 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 you can't do that, don't, nah, I ain't giving up nothing. Shows you the level of elitism that is out there, where, hey, things sound good when you put it on a bumper sticker, but when you actually have somebody that's trying to run with those types of ideals, and the thing that scares them, Mandani saying one thing is something, but when he creates a movement behind it, that's another. And that's where I was going with that. He did that without explicit endorsements from Kirsten Gillibrand, Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, um, hell, probably even Richie Torres. A lot of these um, prominent Democrats in the state that did not want to tie themselves to a self-prescribed democratic socialist. It took AOC and Bernie Sanders, Letitia James coming in and backing him.
And
Um,
plus, also a lot of young people
mhm.
identified, especially with all of his ideals and what he was looking for as the vision of the city, and he's hit the ground running as the
You know,
mayor elect.
and here's the crazy thing. This is why I always say this. If I sat there and asked a Republican, should healthcare be affordable? There is no way I'm going to hear no. If I say to a Republican, should big chain supermarkets and grocery stores be able to constantly overprice their goods and services? If I ask a Republican, should people be given a fair wage? If I ask Republicans, should um, daycare be affordable? I would be shocked, not maybe surprised, but I would be shocked if I had anybody say anything against those types of things. I think most of us understand that we want our children to be safe. We want our food to be clean and safe. Um, we want to be able to thrive. We want to be able to have opportunities. We want to be able to not have to work 3 and 4 jobs just to take care of our family and still probably have to apply for some type of government assistance. Those ideals to me transcend party, but there are certain things that don't. So if I said, hey, do you think people that don't look like you should be able to have those things? That's when you start to get the turn. And people will now try to blame it on immigrants because it's easier for me to say immigrants than to say black people, Asians, legal citizens, whether they're on temporary protective status, whether they are green card holders, with being naturalized citizens or anything. When you start to say it that way, then the answer changes. So it's not really the policy, It's who benefits from the policy. If you're a Republican, do you want your health care to be affordable? You damn right. But if Donald Trump keep telling you, yeah, but if we make yours affordable, Jose that swam across the river to get here gonna get some of your health care too. Oh well, I can't. I'm not. Don't make mine affordable then, because I don't want them to get none of it. That's what they do, Lori. They make people fight against each other while they're sitting there doing the biggest grifts in the world. And we'll talk about that in a second with Snap, but that's just absolutely crazy. Another election that we had, Lori, was in the state of California. In
Oh, I
the
thought
state
you
of
were talking
California,
about Georgia.
I'm gonna hit Georgia, but in the state of California, there was a ballot, one ballot, no human beings running for office. You know how hard it would be to get non-human beings. I mean, have non-human beings on a ballot to get human beings to show up for it. For whichever side of the ballot you would fall on, to be able to get um folks to show up would be hard enough. And there were over almost 10 million people, I believe, that showed up for Prop 50. And people not sure what Prop 50 was. Prop 50 was a ballot that Governor Gavin Newsom called. This was a special election. There wasn't going to be an election. There was nobody to vote for in an off-year cycle for them. Gavin Newsom said, Texas is trying to do some crazy stuff down there because Donald Trump talked to Governor Greg Abbott of Texas and said, I need 5 more seats for next year, because he could see the writing on the wall that there was a good chance that Republicans would lose the House next year. And that's important to Trump. Now, he's not as worried about losing the Senate, but he's definitely worried because the House right now only has a 2 to 3 seat majority. And he wanted to increase that majority so that they don't have to worry about folks like Thomas Massey and other Republicans getting in their way of legislation, that they have enough of a padding that if they get some of these Chip Roys and Thomas Masseys and Andy Biggs and those types of guys to hold out, that they still have enough votes to pass Trump's agenda. Because he knows, Lori, that if he doesn't get everything that he wants to do done in the next year, he's got a year. If Congress flips over to Democrats in the House, he's a lame duck president for his last 2 years. He won't get any legislation done because even if the legislation originates from the Senate, it has to get passed in the House. If it originates in the House, it has to get passed in the Senate. So if the House is under the control of Democrats, number one, that's not going to happen. Number two, they know that then the gavel moves over to the Democrats, and there will be subpoenas of DOJ, FBI, Homeland Security, Department of Education, Department of Health and Human Services. Now, when they bring in RFK, Christy Nome, Pam Bondi, Cash Patel, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., there's going to be a little bit more accountability there, more checks and balances, if you will. His agenda will come to a screeching halt. Congress will be divided, basically making the president impotent. He knows that. He don't get what he wants done in the next year, it's a wrap. You just going to be sitting in the White House whining and complaining about the radical left Democrats and everything else, but none of your policies will be able to go through. The power of the purse, when you talk about tariffs and everything else like that, originates back in the Congress. So this is important to him. So what Gavin Newsom decided to do, Texas, if y'all are going to artificially manufacture 5 additional seats, and seats are normally assessed once there has been a census. So this is a mid-census redistricting. You are redistricting not based on census numbers. You are basically redistricting to try to pick the winners in your districts instead of letting the people in the districts pick their representation. They're doing it the other way around, Lori. So Gavin Newsom basically said, hey, we'll do it in California to counter that. Well, the problem is Trump has reached out to other states like Indiana, Missouri, North Carolina just did it. Missouri just did it, where they're going to redraw their maps. Indiana won't do it. Kansas isn't doing it right now because they said they don't have the votes to do it. Just recently, I think this past week, my man Moore from Maryland said that they're going to open up a commission to look at doing it. The Commonwealth of Virginia is looking at taking a session that Glenn Youngkin had created that wasn't officially closed and be able to start looking at redistricting, but it all hinged on Spanberger winning the gubernatorial race, which he did, because the special session, it has to be done over 2 sessions. Well, the special session will count as one. And then when Spanberger is sworn in and next year's Congress starts in January, that will be the second session. So they will be able to put forth some legislation potentially that will get them to be able to carve out seats in time for the 2026 election. Hopefully, Maryland will get on board, New Jersey will get on board, Oregon will get on board, Colorado will get on board to be able to show these Republicans, if you do this, we're going to not only punch back, but we're going to punch back harder. The only way that you make a bully stop is you punch them square in the mouth. Rhetorically speaking, not hit somebody for real, but rhetorically speaking, you punch them square in the mouth. If you don't, then they're going to keep doing it. You see that Texas was not a one-off. They keep trying to do it everywhere. So if they're trying to take 5 seats, we need to take 50. Because they'll learn that every time you do something, the response is going to be exponential. It's not going to be seat for seat. It's going to be exponential. Now, a lot of the blue state governors, though, Lori, are apprehensive about that because they're the ones that say, well, we're against gerrymandering. And if we sit there and do the same thing as the Republicans, then we're no better than them. See, this is the thing I hate about the Democrat Party. They're a bunch of, I don't want to say the P word, but they're a bunch of wimps. They try to hold values against a party that has no values. You okay over there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Like you about to fall out on me.
Nope, I just had something got stuck in my throat.
Okay. But they try to hold these values that they would rather lose and hold on to these values that are going to continue to see them lose. Are we against gerrymandering fundamentally? Yes. Does that system need to be reformed? Yes. But if you are never empowered to reform it, how can you? So does that mean that for the time being that you got to fight fire with fire? Yes. Does that mean that you will look like a hypocrite? Maybe. But it will show not only your base, but it'll show the other party that you are willing to fight back. Republicans take a what I would call not a calculated risk. They know that there's a good chance that when they do stuff not bound by law, not bound by values or anything else, the Democrats aren't going to sit there and respond in kind. The Democrats are going to be the ones that have to be the adults in the room, take the high road. When they go low, we go high, all that bull crap. You can't do that with them. Because once they know that you will seed the ground that's under you, Lori, they will continue to keep digging under your feet. They've shown you that they will do that. So if you sit there and you say, well, we lost, but we stood on values, great. Now the country is suffering because of your short-sightedness. So when you have a Mandani that says F all of that, that's what scares the Chuck Schumers, the Hakeem Jeffries, the Kirsten Gillibrands from attaching to that, because they still have a lot of those old school members that would rather write op-eds in the New York Times than to sit there and go out there with the people and start talking about Medicare for all and regulating grocery prices and, you know, all those types of things, because that's not popular with that part of the Democratic Party. But hopefully the movement that Mandani is showing is that um, uh, there are a lot more people that believe the same thing that he does, and they want their voices to be heard. And that's why they put him in place, regardless of all of the millions and millions of dollars that got spent against him. So Prop 50 won 63.9% to 36%, Lori. Again, an overwhelming victory for the prop. It wouldn't have really been enough of a thing if they had only won by 51, 52%. 63.9, which is 64%, is, and I'll use a word that the Republicans used in the election this past year, Lori. You know what they would have called 63.9%? A mandate.
Okay.
Remember how they kept saying, "Oh, well, Donald Trump has a mandate to do tariffs and a mandate to do this because he won all the Rust Belt states and this and this and this and this. He has a mandate. We as Congress have a mandate. They put us back in power over the Democrats, so we have a mandate." Remember they kept that. Look, my God, that was the word of the month. We have a mandate. We have a mandate. Well, you went 63.9% or something, Mike Johnson. Is that not a mandate? See, it's only a mandate when it's a red one. When it's blue, oh, it's just blue states. Oh, voting blue. Nothing to see here. Go on with your daily lives. So, y'all, as Lori had alluded to, it wasn't just um, those three states that did some really good things on Tuesday. Lori was bringing up Georgia. Georgia upset and ousted 2 Republicans on Georgia's utility board. Brian, it's the utility board. What difference does that make? Well, Georgia, for all its intents and purposes, even though it does have Raphael Warnock and John um, uh, um,
John Ossoff.
Ossoff, I can't want to say Issoff, John Ossoff, as their Democratic senators. But we got to remember how they first got in office anyway, because Trump told people don't mail in votes, and that backfired on them. But those 2 positions, Lori, were statewide elections. They didn't win that in a particular heavily blue county. They won it in a red state. Statewide election, not county, not any municipality, but the entire state of Georgia. They flipped 2 of those seats. And those positions can have a impact on how utility bills come out, cost of utilities, and things like that. So that was huge for the state of Georgia to have a statewide election where 2 Democrats won, what, for the first time in how many years was it?
25 years. 25.
So to kind of diminish that, Mike Johnson, you're gaslighting. Lord, did you hear about Mississippi?
Yes.
So in Mississippi, Democrats have broken the supermajority that the Mississippi State Senate had by flipping some seats blue. So they were able to do that. So this was not isolated to Virginia. And let me, by the way, say this with Virginia, as Mike Johnson tries to say, blue states voting for blue. Virginia is not a blue state.
It's purple now.
It is very purple. The governor that Abigail Spanberger is replacing was a Republican, Glenn Youngkin. This state has voted for Republicans in those powers. As a matter of fact, Lori, did you hear the other part of the Virginia election with the state assembly? The state
Oh,
assembly
mhm.
had a 51-49, I believe, majority, and controlled by Democrats, but only by 2 seats. Democrats flipped 13 seats to now where there's 64. They have a super majority now in their state assembly, which is the same thing as their state senate. They have
And Vir-
64 seats now, from 51 to 64.
and they also have the first Muslim lieutenant governor in Virginia, the state of Virginia, which is amazing.
Hmm.
You know, that basically the um, whole governorship for the state of Virginia is going to be run by 2 women is phenomenal.
Right. So how do you try to explain that if you had 13 flips, these were red counties in a blue state, how did they flip blue if those were solid red counties? See, he cherry picks a lot of stuff and then does these press conferences because he's talking to people that he thinks will pick this up on Fox News and then they'll just carry the water. They'll pick it up on News Nation and all these other red friendly sites. And they'll go, oh, Mike Johnson said there was nothing to really see there. We can move on. It's not indicative of anything to come. You know what? They're as delusional as Cowboy fans. And honestly, Lori, I want them to continue to be that damn delusional. Because as I say the same thing with Cowboy fans, I don't want y'all to realize 2 months before the season is over that your season is over. I want the reality to sink in late into the season because falling from one story don't hurt as bad as when you fall from 5 or 6 stories up. It ain't about the fall, it's the sudden hit. So I want them to wake up. But now, I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna tell you why that's probably not a good thing. But I almost want them to wake up on election day next year with that "what the hell happened" look on their face. Only problem with that is they'll swear up and down that everything was rigged. And Donald Trump, trust me, is going to start spouting that over the next several weeks that the election next year is already rigged. Ain't one vote been cast. And now he's already started in a way because he keeps saying that even with Prop 50, it was rigged for the simple fact that people were able to mail in ballots versus show up on election day. I wouldn't take any stock from that because this is the same dumbass that still says that you need an ID to buy groceries. Tell me that you don't buy groceries without saying you don't buy groceries. He says when you go to the gas station, you have to show ID. When you buy groceries, you have to show ID. Tell me you do neither of those things without saying explicitly you do neither of those things. But people believe him because, alpha or something. Anyway, so that's what happened with the elections, Lori. Now we've got this government shutdown that's now been the longest in history. It's funny though, Lori, that Trump will sit there and tout about all the wars that he's resolved. So which he hasn't resolved any, but he's up to like 8 or 9 now that he says he's resolved. So you can resolve wars, but you can't resolve a government shutdown in your own backyard. How is that? You have the ability to solve wars, but you can't solve a simple shutdown. And Congress has been missing in action over the last 6 weeks because Mike Johnson keeps gaveling out the session and putting them on district duty where they stay in their districts and they do work, basically work from home, which normally would mean show up in your local offices, show up for local town halls, and speak to your constituents. And for the most part, Lori, Republicans have been nowhere to be found in their districts, holding town halls, being accessible at their offices to speak with their constituents, who, as of November the 1st, are going to start receiving letters about their ACA benefits going up. They are definitely not going to now show up because, in addition to that, SNAP has been cut for the first time because Republicans are trying to use this as leverage to force Democrats to just come in and approve their continuing resolution. And they're using SNAP as a way to try to put pressure. You're using food assistance, Lori. Now, I got to be careful because I got really upset last week and I need my blood pressure to stay down this week. But it kills me because 42 million Americans depend on food assistance. What pisses me off about this is that many of those 42 million Americans, Lori, work every single day. Some of them, Lori, work multiple jobs. Some of them, Lori, are care providers for somebody that receives those benefits. And these folks will sit there and turn around and tell you that it's ripe with fraud and corruption. People getting over on SNAP, where most people bring in less than $350 a month in food assistance. That is not a get rich quick scheme. $350 or less a month. It just isn't. But they will say that. And the crazy part is many of those SNAP recipients are their own damn constituents. That's crazy. Tell your constituents I don't get two F's about you without just flat out saying it. How do you go back to a red state in Marjorie Taylor Greene's district or Mike Johnson's district in Louisiana and say, yeah, we agree with Trump. We shouldn't do any SNAP until the Democrats come to the table and sign off on our continuing resolution? That's crazy. And when Donald Trump wasn't president, he was quoted talking about the role that the president should always play when there's a government shutdown, saying that it taints his leadership because he should be the one to lead and bring people together when there's a shutdown. Now, of course, he always says stuff contrary to, then when it's him, it's different. But this is one of those other examples where he weighed in on that. Now there's a government shutdown again, and he's doing nothing to try to end it. He's been hands off. Hey, is there any deal you can make with the Democrats? Nope. He's told Mike Johnson, hey, keep your members even out of DC. Don't have them talk to Democrats and try to force some type of deal. So he's advocating basically, we're going to wait them out no matter how much it starts to hurt. And it is starting to hurt. Air traffic controllers are not coming into work. Airports are having to pull back the amount of flights that they can do because of the lack of TSA workers and the lack of air traffic controllers. we're coming into our holiday season. Thanksgiving is going to be a stress test because people are going to want to travel, but going to the airport probably isn't going to be a good idea. So you got all of that going on because they're trying to use human pain as an incentive. Now, why are Democrats holding out from signing the continuing resolution? Because they want certainties that the ACA subsidies will be extended so people don't see ballooning costs in healthcare. They ain't fighting for minimum wage increase, Lori. They ain't fighting for, hey, let's take Obamacare and turn it into universal health care. They're not fighting for Voting Rights Act. They ain't voting for any other kind of protections and things like that that they believe in and stand for. They ain't asking for any of that. They just said, hey, healthcare is already expensive enough as it is, and these subsidies at least make it somewhat better. Can we just agree that we don't want people to have to choose between medicine and food or a place to stay? Can we just agree to that? And they're saying, nope, we ain't with it. And then they asked Mike Johnson today, hey, if the Democrats say, hey, we'll sign your CR if you guarantee to bring legislation to the floor to extend the ACA subsidies, you know what he said? No, there's no, I'm not going to do that. Okay. So let's see how much of the art of the deal Donald Trump really is, because it seemed like he brings up, oh, we made this deal with China, we made this deal with Argentina, we made this deal with such and such. You make all these deals with everybody else. You can't make no deals with Democrats.
He doesn't
Oh.
want to.
Now,
He
here's the
doesn't
funny.
want to.
He doesn't. Yeah, you're right. He doesn't want to. But here's the crazy thing, Lori. This is how stupid Trump is. So then he says, well, we ought to just go nuclear. Anybody that know what that means is there's what they call the nuclear option that gets rid of the required 60 plus filibuster that Republicans. What's up, Nathan? There is a 60 plus filibuster on a lot of legislation. Now, over the years, Republicans have made carve outs to that, which is why now the Senate can pass judges to be approved to the federal bench for lifetime positions with a simple majority. Well, to end this government shutdown, to be able to do that with a simple majority would be using the nuclear option and getting rid of the filibuster for that, meaning that you have enough Republican senators to be able to pass it with a simple majority. So he wants them to do that. The Republicans are pushing back on that because this is what they're saying, Lori, and they're right. Hey, we don't want to do that because if we get rid of this last part of the filibuster, when we're not in power, what's going to stop Democrats? And even Trump brought it up. Well, then they'll sit there and make Puerto Rico and DC states. Yes, because they should be. But why do they have a problem with that? Well, Trump said, well, that'll give them 4 senators. Mm-hmm. He ain't totally stupid. He's an imbecile, don't get me wrong. But he's right. Yeah, go ahead and get rid of the filibuster and see what happens. He's right. Check and check. Would Puerto Rico be a state? Absolutely, as they should be. Would Washington, D.C. become a state? Absolutely. It has no representation. And it's bigger than many of the states that do have representation. You would gain congressional seats, Lori, because most congressional districts are comprised of about 750,000 people. I think Puerto Rico can swing that, and I think DC can swing that. So now you, instead of 435, you go up to 437. Okay, check. Then he said, and then they'll sit there and try to pack the Supreme Court and take it from 9 to 13. Mm-hmm. Damn sure will add 4 liberals on that bitch. Yeah. Go ahead and end the filibuster. Please end the filibuster. Hell, I'm so mad that they didn't do it before because Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema stood in a lot of their way because of that crap, Lori. Before they unceremoniously did not run for reelection because they knew that they would not win. They were unpopular. Um, but that filibuster has been a thorn in the side for a while. Yeah, go ahead and get rid of it because you want to sit there and go ahead and end the government shutdown. Use it for that reason. End the filibuster for that reason. Go ahead, because you're right. When the Democrats take control of the Senate again, oh, please believe all that stuff that they listed. Check, 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 check. Oh, we would definitely pass um, um, federal minimum wage increases. The Affordable Care Act would get revised to probably single payer. Um, the Supreme Court would get stacked. There's nothing that says in the law the Supreme Court has to be at 9. It hadn't always been at 9. Hell, I think at one point it was at 5. It has been expanded before, but does it need to be expanded now? Yes, because you got some crazy people on that court that are doing stuff and giving Trump rights that he doesn't have as a president, just pulling it out their ass. So yes, of course those things will happen. Please go nuclear, Republicans, because you're going to do 2 things. You're going to give up your power. There will be no more minority power if you get rid of a filibuster, right? So it'll be just majority. It'll be like the House, where it's a simple majority that passes everything. The Senate will become the same thing. Please do that. Because then what you're also going to do if you end the shutdown that way, you're going to own everything that comes after that. Because then there will not be any more excuse for you to say, well, the reason something didn't pass is because we didn't have 60 votes. If it doesn't pass now, John Thune, it's going to be because you couldn't hold your caucus together. And you'll be exposed for that. John Thune knows that too, Lori, that hey, if something tough comes up, and I can't get enough people on my side, I can always say, well, we needed 60 votes. So, and it keeps the Republicans from being able to hide and say, well, we can't vote against it because our votes are actually will matter. If we needed 60, and even if we voted, we'd only come up with 56. Well, then I can vote against it because it wouldn't have mattered anyway. You see what I'm saying? But if they sit there and now go with a simple majority, they won't have that cover anymore. So those are, but you know what? Donald Trump don't care about that stuff. He is not a tactician. He only wants his stuff to get passed. He doesn't care what it does to the institution. But the institutionalists in the House and the Senate do. So they try to thread the needle with this man to try to um, defer to him as much as they can, at the same time realizing that sometimes he's saying some stuff that will hurt the party even further past him being in office. And he doesn't care about the day after he leaves office. He only cares about himself right now. So, any closing thoughts on any of that, Lori?
Well, also when you were talking about the SNAP benefits and also even in some of the other elections, in other parts of the state, for example, as Maine was able to pass on some legislation for feeding children and
Yep.
families and things like
Hmm.
that. So that is something. So that was also taking place within some of these local elections. And I guess my final thought is as we enter into the holiday season. I do stress that if they still continue with the government shutdown, and even as the recent court filings about how they are making Trump pay the contingency fund even though they're still trying to wiggle around saying will pay 65%. But I'm talking about with the upcoming holiday season and the stress that it is putting on for those organizations that actually rely, food banks that actually help the poor members of of our communities. And it's putting an even bigger strain with SNAP not being in effect, strain for those who are seeking help and assistance, because they are now having to dip into their contingency and reserve in order to be able to sit here and to feed people. And they may not be able to help individuals with any type of holiday offerings that they would. So it's just very sad. Um, but my last thought is I need the Democrats to keep holding. I know it's horrible, but I don't want my medical insurance to go up $1,000 a month for that. That's my last thought.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And but you can see where people's priorities are. So when Mike Johnson comes out every morning and talks about that, they're the party of the people and everything else, it's like, okay, well, if y'all are the party of the people, why is it that court is having to make you feed people?
Yeah,
That's just a bad look. Like, this is not the hill you should want to die on. Is to say, well, because Democrats aren't doing what we want to do, we're gonna because Trump equates SNAP recipients to Democrats. He even said it. When you talk about SNAP, you're really talking about Democrats because he thinks that the majority of people that receive SNAP benefits are Democrats. Even if that was true, you are the president of the mother. Mm. You are the president of the United States of America. If that reasoning doesn't disqualify you on its own from you ever pulling the levers of government, I don't know what does. When you can say, I will not support a program that feeds children, the
18
disabled,
million.
because it would be a political pain, whether that's true or not, you believe it to be true. It would cause pain on a party I oppose. You are a piece of shit. Full stop. Now, we can disagree in the marketplace of ideas. We can have disagreements about how we want to get to some of the same places, but we have different ideas of how to get there. Not a problem. Let's have those debates without starving people. We can have those debates without doing that. We should all fundamentally agree that no American should go hungry in a country that produces more food than people could possibly eat. But if that is your way of trying to use that as leverage against your opposing party, you're a piece of shit. And if you are in that party and you support the leader that feels that way, you're a piece of shit too. So when you stand in front of a podium and you talk about being a party of life, the party of families, the party of the working people and everything else, man, whatever you smoking, that's just craziness. It does not, it falls on deaf ears. When Trump is on 60 Minutes talking about inflation is gone, prices are down, and people are realizing that the $100 that they spent on groceries this year does not fill the same cart that they had last year. Yet he's trying to tell them, oh, don't believe your lying eyes, believe me. That falls on deaf ears. But let him keep spouting that, because then when next year's election comes, what we saw this past Tuesday is only going to have been a preview of things to come. With that said, we're gonna get up out of here, but we'll be back next week for another episode of Head to Head. Y'all stay tuned out there, and we hope to see y'all again soon. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Brian Parker, Lloyd Parker signing off. Peace out.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it, get it, get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it, get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta